It was just a job. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xerath Prevails. Folks, we're going to talk about 8 toons you may be modding poorly. I've been doing this once a month, and we're going to keep up the tradition. So we're going to talk about Zam, among others. There's just kind of a smattering of characters that I think might be a good thing to look a little closer at. So before we jump in, just want to remind you guys that if you want to support the channel for free, all you got to do is hit that thumbs up button or leave a comment in the comment area. We're trying to help mount the algorithm, and we're just trying to write it, guys, trying to get more notice on this channel, and if we can get average somewhere around 60 new subs every day all the way until the end of the year, that would be so amazing. I think we might be starting to founder. This channel's been growing so quick lately, and I really appreciate everyone. If we can do this last push to get to 10k before the end of the year, that would be a dream come true. But if we can't, we can't. So would really appreciate it though, and I do already appreciate all the momentum we've had. Let's not kill our momentum though. Let's jump in and actually talk about these modding characters right away, immediately. Whoa, we're in the game. Jedi Training Ray, why are you in the game? Madness. Oh yeah, because she's part of the game. Okay, so we've got Jedi Training Ray first, folks, and she's a lot of different things. She has a lot going on. She is a tank. A lot of people see her as an attacker, though. Well, the game sees her as a tank. She's an unaligned force user. She is resistance. She's got a really good lead. She's one of the legendary characters. People see her as damage dealing. Like I said, she's a good leader. If she has Watt on her team, Watt can force her to taunt, which is actually really effective because she gets foresight every turn if you put on all of her Zetas, which all of her Zetas are good. Every single one, guys. Even the one that seems awful, the one that says you only gain 40% chance to dispel debuffs on her. It's amazing. That one is so good, actually, guys. It's way good, but we're not talking about Zetas right now. We're talking about mods. And so what does she do? She debuffs at a pretty high rate. She's able to inflict healing immunity. She's able to cause daze and confusion. No, dazed and confused. That's what I was trying to reference, but it wasn't a good job. It was unskillfully done. But ability block and daze. She also can inflict offense down and speed down. She gains all the turn meter if they are resisted, but you don't want them to resist. These are too good for them to resist. Offense down is, you barely notice it. Speed down, you also barely notice it in this game. Speed is kind of one of the lies in this game, actually. You want a lot of starting speed, but and it almost just doesn't matter after the initial turn order. Anyways, we can move on from that as well. I should do a video on that at some point. But we've got ability block and daze. Those are the two ones that really matter. And when you want to apply them, you need to be able to apply them. That is key to her kit. Otherwise, she gains a lot of turn meter. You guys can read her leadership all you want. That it's pretty long, and that's what she said. But you also just it would behoove you to read this because it's really good. But the thing is, her team can apply exposes if they do crits, and so you want to make sure that even characters like BB-8 and R2-D2 on this team are going to be able to crit and everything. She also gives crit chance to everyone. She gives crit damage, etc. The thing about Jedi Training Ray is that we need to consider, because she's doing too much, right? She can't be like, we can't say, okay, she's just a tank. We can't say that she is just a debuff like she's basically a support with a tank label, and we need to facilitate that. She's also does an okay amount of damage, but a huge amount of the damage that her team gets is either through the DPS, the damage per second characters like Resistance Hero, Finn, or Poe, or through expose damage, which expose, if you get a crit on your opponent, it's a 70% chance to apply an expose, and that expose does 20% of a character's max health. So if you have 100k health, then it will do 20k damage to that character. That doesn't take protection into account at all. So what am I doing with her? There's really just a couple priorities here, guys. First, you need to be able to debuff or buff, yeah, debuff, land the debuffs on people, and that means high potency. So we've got a potency set, and then crit damage. Crit damage, she still does okay damage, but don't worry about if it's protection or health on her. I think mostly health is better in general these days. But the other thing is you want crit chance where you can get it, and you want potency where you can get it. Potency secondaries, I mean, nothing too crazy, but all the potency you can get, and then some speed. It's nice to have some speed to start off with, but then honestly it doesn't matter as much. So you can even see here we got the crit chance on here and potency. This is a really nice mod for her. And then, crit damage there, and then potency. And at the end of the day, guys, we want her to have a lot of potency because she wants to apply those debuffs. So 93 is fine. You don't want to sacrifice too much on the damage that she can do. I do put, she's got a decent amount of speed. She wants to be able to keep up. She gains a lot of turn meter, though. You don't need to make her fast. Really, the main thing is being able to do some damage and crit at will. If she's in the lead, she's well beyond 100% crit chance, and then as much potency as you can stack. Next, we've got Red Trooper. I feel like I've talked about him before, and I know that some people are starting to do a few things like stack damage on him again, or whatever. You can put health or protection, but the thing is, in the context of a Supreme Leader Kylo team, I know that I've talked about Hux before on that team, and maybe I've talked about Red Trooper as well, but in the context of that team, he's going to be doing a lot of things, like his AoE is really scary, but he also cleanses. He also is a guy who, if they mark with Jedi Revan, then he's probably, if he dies right away, that can be problematic. But if you, or if Luke can just one-shot him or whatever. So the idea here is just to make him super duper healthy. And so stacking all the health and protection you can on him is going to be paramount to your success. He's going to be taking a lot of turns anyways, just because if he's on a First Order team, there's a lot of turn meter manipulation, and if people die, if you're putting Supreme Leader Kylo on defense, inevitably someone's going to die, and Sith Trooper is just going to take a turn and do his AoE, and it's going to be filthy. So yes, I know that it's sacrificing your damage, but the idea is he's going to have enough health and protection to be able to help him to be able to, I don't know, just tank, to be able to tank for a little bit. I mean, if Jedi Revan targets him, and, it might take a little bit, but the thing is they can't afford to spend too much time on Red Trooper, and if you do put a lot of damage on them via Sith Trooper, that's great. Or if you make them spend a lot of hits and turns and activations, then your Supreme Leader Kylo is going to slowly claw its way out of obscurity. Now, the one thing I would recommend though is getting him up to Relic, I don't know, 7-ish, because he also assists. That's the other thing about him. He doesn't need a lot of speed. He's going to be able to assist quite a bit because he's on a team with First Order, and that's going to give him the ability to assist. And but if you put him at Relic 7, you're going to miss your damage that you're losing from all the health and everything, because you're putting all health and protection primaries on him. You're going to be doing more damage just base because of his relic level. So that's why I would put high relic levels on him, just so he can have damage, and you want more health on him anyways. Those mods are going to help modify that, and it is pretty fancy. Next up is L3. She is a tank for the Smuggler group, and she's also one of the best plug-and-play characters out there. The thing about her is you want her to be tanky, but she's different depending on which team she's on. So if she's on a dash team and it's for GAC, you might want to just stack as much health as you can on her. And I forget what this version I have on her is, but keep in mind, if she is prepared, which if she's on a dash team and it's GAC, they're going to be calling a lot of assists, and every time she assists, she's getting 10% max health stacking, which is really nice. I think she is, in this case, modded for, I'm doing kind of a hybrid right now. It's really not sure how that's going to work, but the health, you can't ignore it with her if she's on that Dash Omicron team. Really good amount, like every time she does a basic, she gets another 8k health. Pretty nice, not to mention if she's boosting that from a leadership or, some other character there. But the other thing is, guys, so on on her character with dash, she's going to be gaining a lot, from the health. That's nice. Otherwise, she's probably not going to be prepared very often, frankly. And so modding for health is worse on her than modding for protection, because you guys can see, oh, this is the wrong one. This unique, do not play the Zeta. But at this, so let me see. Is this the one? One of these. Oh, okay. It was that one first. Okay, so L3 has plus 25% protection, and that, I mean, just that is nice. Plus 25% protection is super huge. And so, I mean, right here, let's say we have 100k, we're getting another 25k out on top of that. And if this is, she's using her as a plug-and-play character, and she's just hanging out on another team, the protection is going to end up being more valuable over time than health. So there is that. Now, we've got the Armorer next. And, well, I should just note, guys, so you can put defense sets on her. She can also be really slow. You just want her to be healthy. You want her to be healthy and happy, or maybe you can call it protection-y rather than healthy in general. All right, now we've got the Armorer. The Armorer is a character that's surprisingly fast, actually, for how slow she moves, how, I don't know, somewhat, she seemed really intriguing at first, and now she seems a little boring to me in the show. I don't know if you guys agree or not. You can let me know in the comments. But here's the thing. She is going to be a really vital component to a Maul team. Like people have been telling me that they don't want to use Maul. They don't want to use good characters on their Lord Vader team, which I think is madness. I need to do a video on that. But people don't want to use Maul on it. I guess I understand the Maul thing, but all right, I'll stop ranting. Here's the thing. The Armorer is really good on a Maul team, because if she can outspeed whatever target you are facing, if this is on offense, then she's going to be able to cause the Alpha Strike from Maul. So she's going to go, she'll call everyone to assist, so Canderous is getting plenty of turn meter, but then she also is going to trigger Frenzy on Maul, and once you do that, then Maul is going to be able to, do his turns, whatever he needs to do. They'll probably just do his AoE initially so that he gets 5 stacks, and then Canderous will probably go because he's getting so many stacks from assisting, and after that he does his AoE, and then Maul, who has Frenzy, is going to go again, and then he will truly just destroy people. And so the Armor is going to be a linchpin to this, but the problem is people are just assuming that the Armor is going to be slow, and they're going to use Watt on that team, and I think Watt should be used with the Galactic Legend somewhere else, or just on a totally different team to create something. The Armor is just naturally fast, and so the main thing about her is she wants to survive, and you can't tell that I want her to survive because of how low my relic level on her is, but it's just because I don't have enough materials, and I'm pretending like I'm Mando. Every once in a while I will present new relic materials, and she'll upgrade her own armor. It's pretty fancy. You guys should try it sometime. So she is really fast, though. Her base speed, way faster than the majority of characters, and so I just have her really fast. That way, let's say that I need to take down a Darth Revan team. If the fastest character on that team is 341 or slower, she will go first. She will be able to call everyone to assist, and once she does that, then Maul will get another turn. He'll get his first turn. He'll be able to do his AoE, and then you'll be able to have Canderous go, and etc. So as long as she's the fastest character on the attack, then that's it. Otherwise, you want health and protection, and that's basically it. That's all she really does. I mean, she just kind of stands there, frankly. It's she just stands there whatever. She's good at one thing, being fast, and that's it. That's all she wrote, folks. She's good at applying her debuff and her buff on one character and then scooting away. She's a good babysitter, and that's it. So those are the first 4. Let's move on to the next. Okay, so we've got Zam, and she's got a lot of conflicting things going on with her, actually. So here's the thing. If she doesn't have an Omicron, so we won't be able to, I can't show you guys the mods for that, because the Omicron is just, I mean, that's what I have her modded for. I'm not going to swap it, but here's the thing. All she did that was any good at all back when she was used even a little bit is her thermals. Thermals are important, so just put tons of, if you can stat, she's not slow either. You can put some speed on her and put as much potency on as you can, and she can start doing some damage. You can even put some offense on her to be able to do that if you don't have the Omicron. If you do have the Omicron, it changes everything. It is super important. It is super good. The thing is, normally at the start of the battle, she gains 20% increase in her offense for each scoundrel attacker, 20% for max health, 20% for max protection, and so she's gaining all of that stuff. But if she's in Grand Arena, instead of 20% of all of those, she gains 60% on all of those, and she gains a percent of her speed. She gains 20% extra speed on top of everything else. So, and then she gains. Hold on, I think I misread that. Let me just make sure. I don't want to misrepresent anything. Zam gains 5% speed for each other bounty hunter ally, so she's going to gain 20% about speed, presumably, I guess, in 3v3. It'll be, the Omicron will be significantly less, just because it's based on how many characters are on her team in 3v3. Obviously, is less than 5v5 in terms of how many characters you can take. So, let's see, bounty hunter allies gain 20% of her offense, max health, max protection, and speed. So not only is she gaining 20% extra speed total, she's also handing out 20% of her speed to the rest of the team, which is more important in a lot of ways. So what's going on is she wants to be fast. She's going to be handing her team somewhere in the realm of 70 to 80 extra health, which means your Bosk and Grief can end up being somewhere in the ballpark of 400 speed, conservatively speaking, with Zam. And, it's not too conservative, actually, because my Grief and Bosk are actually going to be slower because I took good mods off of them because the Omicron allowed that to happen. Now, I did use her on offense on my alternate account, which it's only a gear 12 Zam, and she didn't seem to be hitting like a truck, but my guess is a Relic 7 with her damage modifier should be able to be okay. She doesn't really care that much about landing thermals. I think she's got an okay potency to start with. Yeah, like a 50 something potency is not too bad. So honestly, the thing you'd really need to focus on for her is speed and then offense. Speed, offense, and health and protection are great. The bounty hunters already have that. They want offense. So obviously I haven't gotten all of her mods on her yet, but you want a lot of speed, and then you can look at as much offense as we can pack. So we've got this offense cross, this offense triangle, and the thing that you want to keep in mind, guys, is maybe she would do better with crit damage. I'm not sure, actually. We'd have to look at her crit chance and everything, but the thing is, you don't want a crit damage triangle because it doesn't transfer. She wants all these stats to be going over. 20% of them are going to go over to those bounty hunters, and so having a high offense rating is going to really help in your attempts to make her team stronger. So you'll have to excuse me, guys, for a sec. I just got dizzy randomly. So here's the thing. Lots of speed. Mostly the speed is what's important to get to the other bounty hunters. After that, you want to get her as much offense as you can, because the health and protection, they can get on their own. And the offense, she has a pretty decent offense, guys. She's got, 82k once you get Relic 7, which you have to get Relic 7 to unlock, I think, Lord Vader. Anyways, so here you can see my stats. She's, 305 speed, no potency to speak of, and then the damage, I tried to prioritize the damage because she's going to not only get that, she's going to get a percentage of her offense for every attacker that's on her team, and then she's going to be able to ship that off, 20% of that total off to other bounty hunters. General Skywalker is an interesting one. He obviously got a rework, the dreaded nerfs that resounded throughout the galaxy, but here's the thing about General Skywalker. He's not worse anymore. Your strategy just has to be different. So the idea here now is just kind of abusing his ability to stand back up again really quickly, because he's got regenerating protection on just him. It's just kind of a revolving door. It's like, okay, you take away his protection, he sits down, and then a little bit later he stands back up, but he's got full protection again. And so the idea is to be able to maximize as much protection as you can while still not completely forfeiting the amount of damage you do. But I mean, this protection is regenerating at such a higher rate than it used to be. He becomes a much more annoying character to deal with if you can't deal with the clones behind him quick enough. So the idea here is he wants to be able to inflict debuffs as he can, but then his more important objectives are his damage and his ability to tank hits, which means he's going to have a lot of protection. The one other factor that you need to look at before we look at these stats is that the most common counter to this team, if it's on defense, the most common counter is going to be Commander Luke and company. And if they use Commander Luke and company, then that's fine, whatever. But the idea is, if you want to have any chance of being able to stall them out, you don't want anything that they can get a hold of you and actually do significant damage. So I mean, you can't prevent that entirely, but the idea is maxing out his protection, because his protection is already, and now I forget which one it is. Is it his lead? He gains a bunch of protection based off of how many clones are on the team. Okay, I think that it's actually, I kind of paused for a second. I looked, so it's not on his leadership. It's actually Hero with Fear. He's gaining, at the start of it, for each 501st ally. So if he's got all those clones with him, he's getting another 60% max protection. And then he only sits down once all that protection is gone through. So putting like a defense mods on him is actually pretty good, because it means he's not going to fall over nearly as quickly. So maximize your protection. But as I was kind of alluding to before, but I didn't say it in a succinct way, the Rebel team is doing a lot of percent health damage, and so it's based off of obviously your percent of health. So you want as little purchase as possible on that stat as you can, because if Commander Luke team is countering you, then you don't want to have him drop super quick, and they're going to be putting so many exposes on you, and Chewie's going to be doing assisting, helping with 20% max health and everything. And so giving them a smaller target on health is better. So the least health you can get on General Skywalker, the better. The more protection, the better. And then secondary options, you want some speed if you can. This is actually a very, very slow General Skywalker. I like a couple of the mods that are on him that are kind of slow though, so that does happen. Potency is nice to be able to apply his days, but I mean that's like, it's not even tertiary, it's way back there. So, and then some damage. Offense set, and then, protection on everything. I guess I can show you guys my modding real quick on him. So he's got the protection circle. And keep in mind, we're trying to get crit chance on him as well, so that he's going to be able to crit. But then, protection, and then offense as well. If we can do as much offense as we can on him, that'd be great. So we also have potency and protection. More protection on these two that aren't protection mods. You just want really high percent protection if possible. And this is the mod that I it's not that great, but at the same time, he doesn't need that much speed. And so I don't have any speed on him, which is maybe irresponsible, but he does gain extra protection, and then this extra defense stat is nice. So then protection arrow on him as well, protection cross or triangle, whatever shape that is, and call it good. He's relatively simple to mod, just lots of protection and lots of offense in as much and as cool of way as possible. Now, Candy Mundi is a guy who really benefits from being well modded. He also really benefits from being well relicked. And the idea here is as much damage as possible, because he's on a Jedi team, and most Jedi teams have a lot of ways to be able to call him to assist. Now he's going to be doing on his basic, when he assists, he's going to attack twice. So his first attack does a lot of damage, the second one a lot of times does a lot of damage as well. In addition, he also has a really strong burst attack, which does an enormous amount of damage and armor shred if you don't kill the character. And so you want him to be as ready to be able to do that as possible. Now, the idea here also is he has a pretty low crit chance in general. And so, I mean, we've added 33% crit chance via mods, and yet he's still only at 86%, which is a little bit crazy to me. But that's what it is. You don't get that much crit chance, and I'm just realizing now, probably too little, too late. You guys can't really see all of the stat names, but the crit chance here is we add 33% to it, so he's critting at a decent rate. But we don't want to just count on him being able to crit all the time. So, however, we do want him to be able to crit. He isn't self-buffing really. He's just buff, I guess. You can give him some decent speed, but really the thing that matters most, in my opinion, for him is just going to be that damage stat. As much damage and as much crit chance as possible on chiari mundi, and we can move right along. So, you guys can see my mods. He's actually decently modded. Some people like to brag that they have better. I mean, you show off your mods and other people are just going to have a reflex to show you. But we've got offense, cross, health on the circle because he's with Galactic Republic. Galactic Republic generally have good interactions with health. So health primary on the circle, and obviously as much offense as you can get. This one is decent because it had crit chance and pretty good speed and decent offense. All of these are ones that we want to upgrade as much as we can. An offense set just to make sure that if you don't crit with him, he's still going to be able to hit like a damn truck. And otherwise, he's also got this. He's got look at all that crit chance on this diamond, as well as the speed, and then some offense as well. Not a bad mod for him right there. And then here, I guess we could probably just slice his square a little bit, but I mean, he's got crit chance and speed. Those are the two stats we want. 50% chance to upgrade one of those, and then otherwise, who cares? So we've got the cross here with extra health on it, just for fun apparently, but it's a crit chance. It would be nice if we could get a crit chance on a crit chance set, cross, and etc. The crit damage triangle, we've got speed, and then look at all that offense on top of that. Not too bad. And then here's the big thing, guys. He is actually relatively fast for having an offense arrow. That is really important to him. Do more damage. I even have a little bit of flat offense on it, which, I mean, I'd rather have more crit chance or speed, but not too bad. We're adding so much crit chance stat, guys. Lots and lots of crit chance. That's his very most important stat, right next to damage. Those two can really, really make him go nuts. Let me know how you guys just to completely destroy my chiari mundi and make him better, or make him better than me. Now the final, guys, is veteran Han Solo, and he's got a lot going on. You think at first he just does like a lot of damage, which he does actually do a pretty decent amount of damage, but at the end of the day, he's almost in a way just a debuff guy. He's like a debuff specialist. He's like a Sith almost. So he's got a lot of cool stuff. So his first shot is if someone's debuffed, then he's going to shoot again. And if they're not debuffed, then there's a 50% chance to attack again. If he does shoot a second time, and that's really important to be able to do, if he does shoot a second time, he's going to inflict stagger, which is such a nice ability. It's really nice crowd control. So that makes you think that he's just going, it's like, okay, all right, so let's see. You want to be able to apply that stagger if you can. that requires a potency check. The next one is an AoE. It stuns one person, it does damage to everyone, and then it inflicts ability block on all of them. Putting a mass ability block on everyone is a super handy ability. This guy's underrated like crazy. People don't use him nearly as much, and you guys can kind of see my Relic 6 poking out from under here. I'm trying to get him eventually. I want to get him to like Relic 8, because he does crazy damage at that point. And he gets, the more important thing is he's extremely resilient. People do a lot of damage to him and he just keeps shooting back. He has health steal, so every time he shoots back he heals himself and makes himself more resilient. And so I think when he's done, you also want as much health on him as possible to just make him oddly tanky. So on top of this, he does have plus 25% crit chance and health steal. Now, then, you know, it talks about how he gains turn meter and everything, or like bonus turn meter, if his leader, who's a resistance character, dies, or, you know, if Vander Chewie gets hurt or whatever. And so that's nice. You guys can read that all you want. And then on top of that, he also, whenever an enemy gains a buff, he gains 25% counter chance. And these days, enemies gain buffs like crazy until the end of his next turn. So he's just going to be countering all the time. That's how he does a lot of his damage. He doesn't really even need to be fast. He just needs to get hit and hit back. So when he gains a debuff, when someone debuffs him, he gains 50% defense stacking until the next turn. So like I said, he gets really, really tanky. He also starts getting a lot of damage going because of the armor penetration. So what does that leave us? Where does that actually leave us with him? And there's a few different ways to look at it. First of all, I think that his debuffs are probably more important than anything. So you want to have a basic that you want to be able to, on basic, he's going to be countering a lot. It's just such an interesting thing. So he's going to just be standing there. He's just minding his own business. Someone shoots him, and he shoots him back, and he shoots him back twice, in fact, and then click stagger. Then one of your guys can hit them again when they're close to taking a turn and make it so that they don't get a turn, because stagger knocks all their turn meter off. So that's nice. And then the AoE ability block, this is only cooldown 3, so you can presumably do it at least one other time in the fight. It also stuns someone. This is an amazing ability, and being able to apply mass ability block on everyone at will is just really nice. So you want to have a lot of potency, and then I opted for crit damage. You could probably go for offense as well. And you know, just thinking out loud, you could almost just put his like just health, just max his health, and then just make him a facilitator. I like having him be able to do damage though. So you know, you don't need him super fast. You can see that he's got potency cross on though. That should go to 6E at some point. And the idea is to get his potency over 100% if you can, just because that potency is so important to be able to apply debuffs. 100 will keep almost everyone at bay who could be scared off by that level of potency. Like that will make it so that almost no one can be debuffed, or can resist the debuffs unless they're specialized in having a lot of tenacity. They'll need like 200 tenacity to even get close to it. But otherwise, this should probably be a health circle, because he doesn't have a great way to regenerate his protection, but he does have a great way to regenerate his health. So it probably should put a 6E health on there. This is almost a placeholder, but then keep in mind, guys, the other stats you want: offense, percent offense, and percent potency, and that's it. So you want offense and potency and a little speed. I put the speed arrow on him, though honestly you could probably just put like a really nice health mod, like a health primary on there if you have it, like a crit damage health primary. I don't know if that exists for me in my world. So I mean, that's basically it. Potency on all of these as much as you can, and you know, the rest is gravy. Lots of health and damage if you can, and call it a day. So you know, I think that's it, though, folks. Let me know what you think. What did I miss? I'm sure that there's some things that I missed a little bit, some things that weren't factually accurate. Would love to hear what your thoughts on it are. But I'm going to leave you here. So, guys, thank you all so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Xaereth prevails.